Hey everyone, welcome to the monthly Q&A for the month of October. Like always, I took questions from the community and I'm going to be answering them here in the video. Most of these will be about Grim Sky and the new operators, but I did sprinkle in a couple of different questions as well. First question comes from Eschard asking, should Maverick's blowtorch produce more sound while blowtorching? Yes, 100%. Right now, in my opinion, Maverick is incredibly overpowered because of the ability to break into walls without anyone else knowing, and not to mention that he has no counters. But we're going to focus on the noise aspect first. So currently it makes almost no noise. The only way you'll hear it is if there's no other sound at all in the background, and if it's blowtorching right next to you. If anyone on the entire map is shooting or exploding anything, you won't hear the sound go off. Which is completely different than, say, Hibana or Thermite, where they have incredibly loud triggering sounds for their gadget. This makes it incredibly hard to counter him because, one, since he has no counters for operators, he can break in anywhere, and then two, he can shoot you without you even knowing that the hole was there. And realistically right now, the only counterplay to this is to make sure that whenever he's about to breach a wall, you have someone quickly flank him, but that shouldn't be the case. So here's my take on it. I personally believe that Maverick's blowtorch should be as loud, if not louder, than a thermite charge. A thermite charge is incredibly loud because it lets all the defenders know that someone's breaking into the site. And some people might make the argument, hey, thermite charge should be loud because it's going to make a huge hole where people can walk through. True, Maverick only makes peek holes, or he can make a big hole if he spends enough time doing it. But personally, I think the peek holes would be more deadly. It allows you to get a man advantage by killing people without them knowing you're there, and then later you can break in by just breaking the rest of the reinforcement. So yes, I definitely think that they should increase the sound, and it should be louder than an exothermic charge. Will Ubisoft do this? Probably not. And sticking on the same topic of new operators, next question from King of All Kings. What do you think they need to do to Clash to balance her? I'm going to go on a limb here and assume that he means that Clash is overpowered. I personally disagree. I think Clash is fairly underpowered or at least balanced. Most people that complain about Clash don't really understand how you counter her. Clash isn't like Monty where her shield will stay in front of her no matter what. If you push up to Clash, you can melee her and her shield will go up and you can see her leg and easily kill them. Granted, this is a lot more complicated to do when there's people behind them, but she has a clear shield. You should be able to see through it and see if anyone's about to peek you. And as long as you're looking at her and know that you're safe to keep looking at her, she's not going to put down her shield because if she takes out her pistol, you have an easy chance to kill her. So right now I think Clash's strength is highly overestimated. I really do not think she's as powerful as a lot of people make her out to be. If I were to make some balancing change, I'd probably say maybe decrease how much it slows you by. Granted, if it's a bad Clash player, they can only keep you slow for so long before you just bull rush them. And if they're a good Clash player, they can keep you slow for a while, but they can't really do anything to kill you. Yeah, but overall, I think right now she's fine as it is. Maybe remove one or two things. People just do not understand how to deal with her. They get scared and run away, and they die. And that's their own fault. Next question comes from Pepe the Toad asking, how would you rework Tachanka? I don't think I've made a sole standalone video for this, but I do remember answering this in a previous Q&A where someone asked me about Tachanka. And realistically, the only good rework for him is basically what Maestro is now. I think Ubisoft probably made Maestro as a possible rework for Tachanka in the future and then decided, hey, we can just release it as a DLC operator and make money through there and just leave Tachanka as a meme. The development team has stated multiple times that they are trying to rework him, but that's the bottom of their priority list. But I do genuinely believe that Maestro was supposed to be Tachanka rework. Besides that, I really am not too sure what else you could do with him. So I don't know exactly what I would do to make him more viable, but the one thing I would for sure say is that you have to remove his turret. Because standing still in one spot is how you get killed in Siege, and there's no counterplay to that. If you're standing still, you're as good as dead. So final answer, Maestro is the best way to rework Tachanka. But it's already taken, so I'm assuming they'll probably do something else in the future. Next question from Unicorn Puncher 99. Do you think that Ubi should implement some way to reset your KD and win-loss? Overall, I really don't see the point of it, although I can understand the appeal of it. I myself have also been playing the game for a long time and have kind of a hard stuck kill death and win-loss because of it. If you look at accounts like on my solo Smurf, I usually have a KD of around anywhere between 1.7 to like 2.2. Yet on my main account, I have a KD of 1.3. This is because for the first, I want to say 8 months of playing the game, or maybe even the first year, I generally went negative or just barely positive. So it kind of sucks to have a lower stat because of that. However, there is no way for anyone to find it besides looking up your stats on another website. which realistically, no matter what you do, people are just going to roast you or call hacks regardless of whether your KD is high or low. Personally, I think the only reason to implement this is to save people's vanities. Like, a lot of people want to see high KDs and high win losses. For me, I really don't care. I know what my KD is, I know what my win loss is, I know how good I am regardless of how hard stuck my stats are, but I know a lot of other people don't like to see that. If they were to implement something, I would say the best way to do it would be by season. I think a lot of people can agree on that. Every single season it could be reset, and then that shows your KD and win-loss for the season. Pretty simple. Next question from Varen asking, do you think Siege should add a training mode like other FPS games? This one I'm not too sure what to comment on because I don't actually know what the training mode is like in other FPS games because I actually haven't played many FPS games since I got Siege. But if it's what I imagine is like training targets and dummies moving around and you just keep shooting them infinitely until you're done, then I would probably say yeah, Siege should add something like that. I think Terrorist Hunt was what they intended to be target practice, but little did they know that it doesn't actually really help you too much. It helps you with like just your general aim and hitting specific body parts, but it doesn't help you with like flick reactions or moving to a certain point because you know where all the terrorists are going to be in Terrorist Hunt anyways, so it doesn't really help you there. I see no reason as to why they shouldn't, besides they have mentioned that there's a lot of issues with memory caps in the game because they're running it off a really old engine. I'm sure something like a training mode would probably take up a lot of memory and they wouldn't have the space or time to make it. That being said, it would be a good implementation because right now Terrorist Hunt is more just like a goof around and maybe warm up how you're moving your aim, but that's about it. An actual training mode would help a lot, especially as a content creator myself. Training mode would help a lot with being able to make videos on recoil patterns and stuff like that. So yes, they should add it. Realistically, they probably won't. Next question comes from Dean Gordon asking, do you think the alternative fire option on Siege's weapons should be replaced with something more useful? So in case you didn't know, there is a button on your controller/keyboard where you can change the fire rate of your weapon from full auto to burst to double burst to single fire, a bunch of different options. Not every weapon has it, but most of them do. And for the most part, it goes fairly unused. I don't know anyone that I play with that uses it on purpose. I know the other day Terrell was playing with us and he accidentally changed his weapon to single fire and it got him killed. It was pretty funny to watch, but sucked when we lost because of that. And I think it's kind of only really there for a legacy reason. When Siege first came out, the whole point of it was to be an incredibly super realistic shooter. And the game has changed quite a bit since then. Now it's not really super realistic. It's more fun and destructive than anything. So I do think that this is something that could be taken out. I'm sure there are a few people out there who use it and they'd be super upset if it ever got removed. But for the most part, it could probably get something more useful. Dean does make the suggestion of having a quick chat option like in Rocket League where you can push the button, let's say left on your D-pad and then do up or down or whatever, and you can choose different quick chats and send stuff to your team. That way you can actually help even if you don't have a microphone. But overall, yes, I do think that it could be removed and replaced with something else. I think the only reason why it's still there is because Ubisoft's still trying to hold on to the quote-unquote super realistic shooter. And next question from Devin Fry asking, how did you find out about Siege and what made you start to play it so often? I think I've told this before, but I'll tell it again really quickly. Basically, I signed up for the Siege beta or alpha long time ago, like early 2015, maybe late 2014. And then in the middle of 2015 in the summer, I got an email saying that I had been selected for the closed beta. Started playing it, thought it was a lot of fun, and then I just kind of kept along with it. I thought it was an interesting new take on FPSs, since most FPSs I know are kind of like Overwatch, Call of Duty, or Battlefield, where it's just spawn, die, spawn, die, spawn, die. It was an interesting and fresh take to have a game where it was spawn, die, and then wait for the round to be over, and then spawn again. So like that your life actually mattered. That's kind of what pulled me in and made me really enjoy the game. I also stuck with it because I was one of the only YouTubers at the time really covering it. Very few YouTubers that you'll see now have actually been playing the game since the beginning. Most of them got into the game around Dustline or Skullrain, and some even later than that. Some people have only joined in the last year or so. But my YouTube community seemed to like it. I enjoyed playing it, just kind of stuck with it, and have ever since. And a question from Jason Dash asking, will you ever do vlogs like before? Yes, vlogs will be coming back a bit more now that I'll be traveling a lot for these conventions and events. I was going to originally do a vlog for PAX East, but there really wasn't much for me to show, and we didn't really do too much besides just go to the convention and walk around. And plus, I am pretty camera shy, so trying to show myself on camera is really hard for me. I'll be trying to do another vlog for TwitchCon. The main reason I want to do it is because TwitchCon is in California, and there is one song that I really, really want to use for it that's called California. So I'll probably be making more vlogs with that. And also, I'm looking into getting an aerial drone with a really good camera so that I can take some nice scenic shots whenever I go visit places and make vlogs using that. So there should be one after TwitchCon, and then I'll keep making more whenever I go to conventions, but those should only be once every 3 months or so. They won't be that often. And our final question from Michael Vela is asking, what are some things that you believe that Siege needs to improve on dearly? And my answer is his first example, which is a better ranking system. I've had this argument a lot on Twitch chat and with my community because a lot of people seem to think that Siege's ranking system is perfect and that it could never be improved. It's at its peak performance. I believe quite the opposite. I think Siege's ranking system is awful and really needs to be reworked. It is a tricky situation because you can't do stuff like what Overwatch does, where they reward more points to healers and less to DPS because they say, oh, everyone wants to play DPS, but if you play support, which is a more rare role, you should get more MMR or ELO for it. Which does make sense on paper because, well, you're playing a less in-demand role. But it really sucks in practice because that means people who are bad can easily rank up because they're just playing healers, which don't nearly take as much skill usually. So imagine trying to apply that to something like Siege, where people who played operators like Rook or Doc would get way more ELO per match just because they played what would be classified as a support operator. It wouldn't be fair. So I do believe that their ranking system of win-loss does work at its best. I don't think you can really get any better than that. You can't really take stats into perspective when it comes to rank because then technically if you want a match but went negative, you should lose ELO because that would mean that you didn't really contribute much. But the match doesn't know that. You could have been making calls on cameras, you could have been a support operator like Echo on his drone and marking people or just letting them know. You don't even have to mark. Which brings in another factor. The game wouldn't even be able to tell if you really did anything because let's say you're on an Echo drone and you call out where someone is and you don't mark them, and then someone gets the kill because of your call out. How would the game know that you possibly did something there? It wouldn't. So all that stuff about the ranking system I think is fine the way it is. Yes, reward win-loss, do not reward personal stats. However, the one aspect of the ranking system that I find is god-awful is what ranks we get assigned and what tiers everyone's at. Personally, in an ideal world, I think that I should at max be able to obtain Gold 1 or Plat 3. Now the reason why I say that is because I think that the rank should be a little more separated than they currently are. Right now, you can go between Copper to Silver and you'll find people that are at the exact same skill level. You can even go between Copper and Gold and find people at the same skill level. Rank doesn't really mean a lot at the lower ranks. And then you can also find people who should be a Silver in high Platinum because they just got carried there and they're awful. In the last season of Solo Smurf, I had a match on Consulate Secure Area where a person on my team was a Plat 2 and he had no spatial awareness at all. He had no idea what was going on. He went like 1-7 in the match. He was awful, but he got Plat 2 because his teammates carried him there. So that's why I think that the rank should be, I guess, a bit separated more. I think that anyone who's currently like a gold player should get moved down to about silver and bronze. I think silver and bronze should be where most players are at. And then gold would be where most platinum players are now. And then platinum and diamond would turn into mainly pro players or very, very, very good ranked stars. And that's it. Or they just need to be a lot more severe. Everyone wants to be gold and platinum because they feel like if they're anything else that they're shit. What the game should be doing instead of rewarding people and giving them gold when they don't deserve it is making silver the standard or making bronze the standard. And then you should feel rewarded if you work your way up to platinum or gold. Yeah, that's what I think that Ubisoft really does need to work on. The ranking system is fucking garbage. And that will be it for this month's Q&A. As always, this Q&A is every single month. Usually in the first week of every new month, I will make a post on the YouTube community tab and ask you guys for questions. This month was a tiny bit late. I usually try to put in the first 3 days of the month. This video comes out on the 6th. The reason why I was late was because I had so many announcements to make with prizes on the giveaways and new shirt coming out, all that stuff. So I didn't really want to spam you guys with a bunch of different posts and you guys ignoring them because of that. And speaking of shirt, in case if you guys are interested, I do have a store on Teespring. You can go check it out. Link is in the description below. I just uploaded a new shirt design for Halloween. And it's got Cav and Recruit on it. So if you're interested, go check it out. Maybe buy a shirt. If not, we're cool, guys. Don't worry. I only hate you just slightly. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.